I am reminded of the deeply touching letters, cards, and messages which so many of you have sent my...
What if the biggest royal betrayal wasn't coming from an enemy, but from inside the palace itself? Late last night, a shocking claim exploded across royal gossip circles, and it's the kind of story that could shake the entire British monarchy to its core. Because according to explosive whispers, Queen Camilla allegedly panicked the moment her own ex-husband began revealing secrets about a disturbing plan targeting none other than the future king, Prince William. Yes, you heard that right. Sources claim that what started as a quiet family tension inside palace walls suddenly turned into a full-blown royal scandal when confidential conversations, private meetings, and mysterious power plays allegedly started coming to light. And the most shocking part? The person exposing it all might be someone who once knew Camilla better than anyone else. So the question everyone is asking tonight is simple. Was this just another piece of royal gossip? Or is there actually a hidden power struggle brewing behind the crown? Because if these allegations are even partly true, then the royal drama surrounding Camilla and Prince William could be far bigger and far darker than anyone imagined. And trust me, what we uncovered next will leave you stunned. The palace has seen whispers before, but nothing like this. For years, royal watchers believed the biggest tension inside the monarchy revolved around public scandals, media criticism, or family disagreements. But according to insiders, something far more uncomfortable had been brewing quietly behind the gilded walls of the royal circle. And somehow, the name that keeps resurfacing in these whispers is Queen Camilla. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, let's rewind the story a little. Because controversies surrounding Camilla didn't start yesterday. In fact, critics have long accused her of being one of the most politically strategic figures in the modern royal era. Ever since her marriage to King Charles III, observers have argued that she understands palace power dynamics better than most of the royal family combined. But according to rumors circulating among palace staff and royal insiders, the real tension began when the spotlight started shifting toward Prince William, the man widely expected to lead the monarchy into its next generation. William's rising popularity has been impossible to ignore. Public polls consistently rank him among the most trusted figures in the royal family, and his image as a modern, responsible future king has only strengthened over the years. And that, according to some insiders, may have created a quiet but very real power imbalance behind palace doors. Because here's where the story takes a strange turn. Several anonymous royal commentators claim that Camilla allegedly grew increasingly uneasy about how quickly William's influence inside royal circles was expanding. Staff members reportedly noticed subtle shifts in private meetings, moments where decisions, attention, and future planning seemed to revolve more around William than anyone else. At first, these moments looked harmless. After all, a future king naturally becomes the center of long-term royal strategy. But then came the rumors. Sources began whispering that certain royal initiatives connected to William were mysteriously slowed down, delayed, or quietly redirected. Nothing obvious. Nothing that could easily be proven. Just small, puzzling changes that left palace staff scratching their heads. And that's when an unexpected figure reportedly entered the conversation. Someone who had once shared decades of personal history with Camilla, someone who knew the private side of her life long before she ever stepped into the role of queen. Her former husband, Andrew Parker Bowles. According to explosive gossip now circulating online, Andrew allegedly hinted in private circles that some palace maneuvers were not as innocent as they seemed. He reportedly suggested that certain moves within the royal structure might have been carefully orchestrated to influence who held the most power in the future monarchy. And when those whispers started spreading beyond private conversations, the atmosphere around the palace reportedly changed overnight. Because if someone from Camilla's past was truly starting to talk, then secrets that had stayed buried for decades might suddenly be coming dangerously close to the surface. But just when royal observers thought the whispers couldn't get any stranger, the story took an even darker turn. Because suddenly, the name Andrew Parker Bowles wasn't just floating quietly around elite social circles anymore. It started appearing in conversations among royal commentators, tabloid insiders, and anonymous online sources who claimed that something explosive had recently been discussed behind closed doors. And according to these claims, Andrew had allegedly begun hinting at a series of deeply uncomfortable secrets connected to Queen Camilla and the growing power struggle inside the monarchy. Now, to understand why this is such a big deal, you have to remember something important. Andrew Parker Bowles isn't just some distant acquaintance. He was once married to Camilla for more than 2 decades. That means he witnessed the royal social circles, the private dinners, the quiet alliances, and the complicated relationships that existed long before the public ever paid attention. In other words, if anyone knows the long-hidden dynamics of the royal world surrounding Camilla, it would be him. And that's exactly why these rumors are making so many people nervous. According to several anonymous insiders, Andrew allegedly suggested that certain strategic conversations took place years ago about how influence inside the royal family could shift once Prince William began stepping into a more dominant public role. At first glance, that might sound like normal royal planning. But the whispers claim these discussions weren't just about planning the future, they were about controlling it. Some sources even claim that behind the scenes, certain royal advisors quietly aligned themselves with different power centers within the palace. One group focused on strengthening William's future leadership. Another allegedly tried to maintain the influence of the current royal circle surrounding King Charles III and Camilla. And if those factions truly existed, it would mean the monarchy wasn't just managing public duties, it was navigating an internal chess game. But here's where the story starts sounding almost unbelievable. A royal blogger recently claimed that Andrew Parker Bowles hinted during a private gathering that some people inside the palace were far more worried about William's rise than they ever admitted publicly. That single sentence immediately triggered speculation online. Who exactly was he referring to? What kind of worries were being discussed? And why would someone so close to Camilla suddenly allow those hints to slip out? Social media exploded with theories. Some commentators argued that Andrew might simply be frustrated with how history has portrayed certain royal relationships. Others speculated that he may have quietly held onto stories for years that he never felt comfortable revealing until now. And as these rumors spread across forums and gossip channels, the narrative grew even more dramatic. Several viral threads began claiming that certain palace insiders were scrambling to control the conversation before it spiraled into a full-blown media storm. Because if Andrew Parker Bowles ever decided to openly discuss the private power dynamics he witnessed during his decades around royal circles, the fallout could be enormous. Not just embarrassing, potentially devastating to the carefully crafted image of unity the monarchy has tried to maintain for years. And according to some royal watchers, the person who would have the most to lose from those revelations might be Queen Camilla herself. Because if even a fraction of those alleged behind-the-scenes strategies were ever confirmed, it would raise a chilling question that many royal fans are now whispering online. Was there really a quiet effort somewhere within the royal machine to influence the future of the crown? Or is this entire story about to explode into the biggest royal controversy in years? And just when people thought the rumors had reached their peak, another twist quietly surfaced, one that made the entire situation even more unsettling. Because according to several royal commentators, the growing chatter about Andrew Parker Bowles and his alleged hints was starting to reach people much closer to the center of the monarchy itself. Sources claim that certain palace insiders were suddenly becoming extremely cautious about what they said, who they spoke to, and even which conversations happened behind closed doors. Some observers described the atmosphere as tense and unusually quiet, as if everyone inside the royal orbit understood that something sensitive was unfolding. At the center of all this speculation remained Queen Camilla. For years, Camilla had carefully built a public image of stability and quiet support beside King Charles III. After decades of controversy surrounding her early relationship with Charles, royal advisors worked relentlessly to reshape public perception. Gradually, that strategy seemed to work. Public appearances became smoother, criticism softened, and the royal narrative shifted toward unity. But if the whispers now circulating were even partly accurate, that carefully constructed image could face an entirely new wave of scrutiny. Because the rumors weren't just about personal disagreements or family tensions anymore. They were about influence. Specifically, the influence surrounding the future of the monarchy, and the rise of Prince William. Royal analysts have long pointed out that William represents a generational shift inside the institution. His public image, his charitable focus, and his popularity among younger audiences have all contributed to the perception that the monarchy's future largely revolves around him. That growing spotlight has naturally changed the internal balance within royal circles. And according to some commentators, that shift may have quietly created friction behind palace walls. One particularly controversial claim began circulating among online royal communities. The theory suggested that certain strategic decisions within the palace may have been influenced by individuals who feared losing relevance once William eventually takes the throne. No documents have confirmed such claims. No official statement has acknowledged them. But the mere existence of these rumors has been enough to ignite intense speculation. What made the situation even more explosive was the idea that Andrew Parker Bowles, someone who once lived inside Camilla's personal world for decades, might possess knowledge that few outsiders could ever understand. If he truly witnessed conversations, alliances, or private strategies from those earlier years, then his perspective could potentially reshape how people interpret certain royal dynamics. And that possibility alone has been enough to keep royal observers on edge. Several commentators have pointed out that moments like this reveal how fragile the image of royal harmony can sometimes be. The monarchy depends heavily on public trust, symbolism, and the idea that the institution operates above personal rivalries. But when stories of internal power struggles begin circulating, even unconfirmed ones, the narrative can shift very quickly. Now, the biggest question hanging over this entire controversy is simple. Will these whispers fade away like so many other royal rumors before them? Or will someone eventually step forward and reveal details that could change how the public sees the relationships between Queen Camilla, King Charles III, and the future king, Prince William? Because if the alleged tensions inside the palace ever moved from rumor to confirmed reality, the consequences for the royal family's public image could be far more dramatic than anyone expects. And according to the growing wave of speculation online, this story may not be finished yet. The deeper you look into this story, the harder it becomes to ignore the questions that keep surfacing. Because royal history has shown something again and again, the biggest scandals rarely begin with loud public announcements. They begin with whispers, quiet conversations, uncomfortable hints that something behind palace walls may not be as perfect as it appears. And right now, those whispers seem to be circling around three powerful names: Queen Camilla, Prince William, and the one man whose past connection suddenly has everyone paying attention again, Andrew Parker Bowles. If even a fraction of these rumors were ever confirmed, it could completely change how people view the inner dynamics of the monarchy. Because the idea that private rivalries or hidden strategies could influence the future of the crown is something the royal institution has always tried to keep far away from public view. But the internet has a way of pulling secrets into the light. Every hour, new theories are appearing online. Some claim this is simply another exaggerated royal rumor. Others believe there may be far more beneath the surface that has yet to be revealed. And that leaves one uncomfortable question hanging over the entire story. If someone truly knows the hidden history behind these alleged tensions, will they eventually speak? Because if more details ever emerge, the fallout could send shockwaves through the royal narrative that has been carefully maintained for decades. But now we want to hear from you. Do you think the growing speculation around Queen Camilla and Prince William is just another royal gossip storm? Or could there actually be a deeper power struggle inside the palace that the public hasn't fully seen yet? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more shocking royal investigations, hidden stories, and controversies that mainstream headlines rarely explore, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next revelation.